to help me. I am tired. Your Inner Weather Report. This is the podcast where we get honest about the inner work that we're doing to show up well in the world. I'm your host. My name is Kanu. I'm a licensed mental health clinician and a woman on a mission to help people heal, grow, and thrive. So let's dive in. But first, here is your internal weather report. Today's weather report. It looks sunny on the outside. So you pull out your favorite summer dress or a crisp linen shirt and you throw on sandals and you step out the door, only to feel the sharp bite of wind. Turns out it was one of those cold sun days, and suddenly what you perceived on the surface didn't match the reality of the environment. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, being perceived wrong. So have you ever felt that disconnect between what's going on the inside of you and how other people are perceiving you on the outside? Let me tell you, you are not alone. But first, let me just kind of set the stage here. This episode is not for someone who believes they don't need feedback or reflection. This is not for the person who says, I am who I am, and if they don't like it, too bad, so sad kind of people. This episode is for the person who cares about connection, who understands that we are meant to live in relationship with one another, who knows that iron sharpens iron, and sometimes we need a mirror, not to judge ourselves, but to see clearly, because we can't grow what we won't acknowledge, right? I remember years ago, I was working as a marketing professional and we were in a meeting discussing ideas that, if I'm being honest, I was actually aligned with. I wasn't upset, I wasn't mad, I was just sitting there quietly, maybe just a little reflective, but not angry. And knowing me, maybe I was thinking about, what am I going to eat for lunch? So after the meeting though, the director who was running the meeting pulled me aside and said, "You looked upset." And I was like, what? Me? Why? And he said, your arms were crossed and your facial expression told me that you were frustrated. So see, culturally, I come from Zimbabwe and I come from a background where crossing your arms isn't a defensive posture. It's a relaxed one. It's I am present, I am listening kind of a thing. But to him, it read as I was being closed off and actually resistant. And here's the thing, I am a recovering people pleaser, and I've spent a good portion of my life working overtime to make sure that others feel good, feel seen, feel heard. So when someone tells me I am being perceived as angry or upset while I'm quietly just trying not to be disruptive, that hit me hard. And so that was one of the first moments I realized there's a disconnect between what I am feeling on the inside and what other people are reading on the outside. So not long after that, I am in Seattle, driving on the highway, and boom, had my first panic attack. And at that time, I didn't even have language for it. I thought I was dying, you guys. And I did what you should never do, is Google your symptoms. And I went to WebMD, and it told me that I was having either a stroke or a brain tumor. So I come from a family where we have experienced strokes and a bunch of health scares. And so reading that actually made it really, really worse. But that moment was the beginning of my inner work, the start of asking questions like, what's going on beneath the surface? Why am I working this hard to make others comfortable? And how are people actually experiencing me, right? And that is the origin of something that I always talk about, the Blindspot Blueprint, which is a tool I created inspired by the Johari Window model, if you know what that is, and I'll break it down here in a little bit. So it helped me better understand the parts of me, the parts of myself I see and the parts that I actually don't. So let's just take a quick detour into some psychology for a second. So I speak about the Johari Window, the framework that it, explores. It's about 4 quadrants of self-awareness. So first one is open self. So what you know about you and what others know too. And then there's the blind self, what others see but you don't. And then there's the hidden self, what you know but others others don't. And then there's the unknown self, which is what nobody sees yet, not even you, not even anybody. But let me break it down just a little bit more for you. So the open self is if you are an energetic person, people see that, you know it, and it's out in the open. So you might say things like, I love bringing the energy, and your coworkers or friends, whatever, they agree because it's not a secret. And then there's the blind spot or the blind self. That's, you think you're being assertive and you're coming off as being aggressive. Or me sitting in a meeting with my arms crossed and thinking I'm just relaxed and listening, and then I'm coming off as I'm angry, right? And, you might think that you are neutral and chill, but your resting face makes people feel like you're judging them. So that kind of thing. And then there's the hidden self, which you are deeply sensitive, but you hide it because you don't want people to see that. So you're hurt by certain comments, but you don't show it. And others assume you're tough when you are actually carrying the pain and hiding it on the inside. And then the last one is the unknown self. That is, you don't know you have it until maybe a situation happens, and then that comes out where now you know it and they know it. So the unknown self is unknown to you and unknown to everyone else. So let's just pause here for a second. Have you ever felt misunderstood? Do people see anger when you feel at peace? Do people assume you're arrogant when you really, maybe you're just shy? This is why tools like the Blindspot Blueprint exist, because you don't have to guess. You can ask in a structured, compassionate, helpful way. So if you don't want to go with that, just start with this. Find people, your trusted circle of people, and ask them, how do you experience me? What are 3 words you'd use to describe me in a group setting, for example? And is there anything that I do unintentionally that could be read the wrong way? Now, I want to warn you, because you could hear things that would shake you and you won't believe that this is how people perceive you. But remember, these are people that care about you and they want you to get better. So take that information and use it in a personal growth kind of a setting. Now, look, I know culture tells us, be your baddest self. Do you, we say, and don't worry what anyone else thinks. And yes, I am all for authenticity, but let me lovingly say this. We were not designed to live in a silo. We are communal. We are meant to work together, and we're meant to connect. And if the way we carry ourselves is unintentionally putting up barriers, we're missing out. We're missing out on important relationships, opportunities, and growth. So this isn't about changing to please everyone. It's about self-awareness and emotional maturity. And that is what I want for you. So if you are tired of being misread and you have been sitting in meetings wondering why are people thinking you're mad, like what I shared, and if you're putting in the emotional labor to make everyone else feel good only to still be perceived the wrong way, it's time to hold the mirror up gently, ask, reflect, and realign. And if you need support in doing that, you can check out my Blindspot Blueprint. It helped me, and it can help you too. But even if you don't use mine, create your own system. Don't go through life being misunderstood when clarity is possible. So that's it for today's conversation. I hope it got you thinking about how you're showing up and how you're being seen. So if you felt seen by me speaking in this episode today, share it with someone else who might be tired of being misunderstood too. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to help me. I am tired, because we are building a community of people who are done pretending and ready to thrive. I'll see you next time. Love always.